Good evening, everyone, and you're very welcome along to tonight's Between the Lines here. I'm your host, Craig, stepping in on the Anfield agenda. Nice to see everybody again. Not a whole lot of stuff for us to go through. Obviously, we can have a chat about the game today. We can have a chat about the links to Son from Spurs. We've seen the camp for Alisson come out and say that there's no new links, no new interest in the player, no bids gone in for the player. What else have we got? We've seen Danny Ings linked to move to Turkey, so really interested to see what you guys want to have a chat about tonight. Good evening, Louis. You're the first one on, mate. Thank you for joining us again. Anything that's popped out today for you, mate? Anything you want to have a chat about? Were you impressed with Brazil? I think personally, I think Coutinho has probably been their best player so far in this tournament, and it pains me to say that. Obviously, him being a former Red. It's good evening, Cop Idol. Nice to see you again, mate. Thanks for joining us. You'll probably see a lot more of this, guys. Are probably on around this time while the World Cup games are finishing at 9. Then, yeah, it's probably going to be about 9:30 or so when I get on each evening. Had a chat with our guys today, and yeah, you're going to see a lot more of them as well. So lots and lots of stuff coming up here. As far as LFC goes, though, it's gone rather quiet, hasn't it? There's not much to say in the LFC camp, unfortunately. We've a few things we'll go through. We've a few links. I'm going to go through our transfer agenda that we have ready for our transfer podcast. So we've a couple of links there we can have a chat about. Let me just bring it up actually, and we'll see where we are on this one. We'll see what you guys think. Right, first and foremost, bear with me. Right, well look, we spoke last night about the Asensio bid and how we all believe that that's absolute nonsense. I see Cop Idol's the same in regards to Coutinho. He thinks he's having a great tournament. Louis says, did you see the Fekir League picture? It's the same as the NABY Keita one. And yeah, for me, Coutinho has been good. I hate to say it. No, I haven't seen the full picture. I've seen the one of him in the training kit where he's looking at a reflection of himself on the computer screen or something. If that's the one you're talking about, then yeah, I have seen it. But if it's something else, no, by all means, put a link to it in the chat or let me know about it because I'd love to see it. This thing Fekir thing, it's every night, guys, isn't it? It's every single night we're on here talking about Nabil Fekir, and we're gonna end up keep talking about him. There's been a crazy rumour that was put into our transfer podcast agenda, and I haven't really spoken about it because it's so ludicrous that I don't even really want to give it airtime, if that makes much sense. But I mean, we'll touch on it a little bit later on, but it's out there. Let's put it that way. If we thought the Asensio rumour was a little bit crazy, then this one for me is equally as crazy. What do you guys think of Naby Keita? Naby Keita finally arrived, and finally, well, we know he was going to take number 8. It's been known he was going to take that number 8, but it was interesting to see the picture of him holding up the number 8 shirt with Steven Gerrard when it was last season's shirt. So that's very strange actually to see that he knew about that last year. Obviously the club knew he was going to be number 8. That seemed to be a done deal for a long time, but interesting to see him with last season's kit with CVG. Really nice picture. I mean, hopefully we're talking about 2 legendary number 8s there in the future, but brilliant to see him at the club. I love what the club did with the video. I like the way they put it together. It looks fun. It doesn't look forced. It's really good. I've liked all the work the LFC TV and the guys have done so far. So yeah, really well done on that one. And Naby looks damn fucking happy to be here, and that's really, really important. Evening Chris, evening Lalu, and evening White Warrior. How are we all? Today I'm probably even a little bit more sunburned than I was yesterday, guys, because I put in the hours again today out in the back garden. I mean, it's tough at the top, but needs must and all that. As I say, we don't get much sun over here in Ireland, so we make hay while the sun shines. Right, Chris, look, I will tell you, mate. You've asked me in the chat there to tell you the rumour that you've probably read it somewhere else, but the rumour was to Luka Modric to LFC, and to me it's absolute lunacy. One, obviously because of his age. If we're talking purely based on the talent perspective, then look, hands up, no one's going to say a bad word about Luka Modric because he's absolute quality in every sense of the word. But yeah, there's no way I can see that link being true. I can see Real Madrid wanting to let him go, or I can see us being willing to pay what it would take to get him out of there. So look, I said I'd just touch on it. I said it was out there. So that's the one I was talking about. But look, it's fucking nuts. As Louis says in the chat there, we're being linked with absolutely everybody. I mean, I suppose from the point of view of publications and newspapers, these people have to keep pumping out content, don't they? I mean, they've got jobs to do, they've got space to fill, they've got adverts to sell. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of clickbait stuff over the summer, and as Louis said, we've been linked to absolutely everybody. Absolutely, even goalkeepers that most of us have never heard of before. We're suddenly all scrambling around on YouTube, trying to watch videos, trying to get little bits of information on these players. And yeah, look, Kloppo and the team know what they're at. Klopp will be back from his holidays, I reckon, in the next, week or so, maybe. So we'll probably see a few things happening then. Louis says, the leaked one where it says Nabil Fekir, the first interview, it has the same thing on Keita's one. I can't remember if it's the one I seen, buddy. I honestly can't. If you can stick maybe a link or something in the chat to where I can go and have a look at it, I'll let you know. But off the top of my head, I can't remember if that's what it said in the one I seen. But either way, you've seen the picture. There's a picture doing the round. So if people are happy that it's not photoshopped or anything, then it's crazy. It's crazy that it got that far, and it hasn't been announced yet. If that's the case. Flatman saying, someone saying the picture has 1717, thinking it's the 1st of July. Not sure myself, but like the theory. I do love a bit of a theory like that, I have to say. I do love a bit of a crazy theory, but 1717, does that make any sense? 1st of July, yes, but then the other 17 after it, I mean, it is 2018, so that isn't really making much sense. Maybe we're clutching at straws here. Maybe we're wanting to clutch at straws, if we're being honest with ourselves. Chris Carson says, maybe the best player at midfield right now. Yes, please. I mean, from a quality point of view, Chris, as I said, there's no doubt in the man's credentials. For Croatia to have topped that group as well and look so good doing it, it just goes to show you how good a quality they have there. And obviously they've got Big Dejan back there, so he's not to be sniffed at either. Thomas says, evening all, did I see rumours linking Liverpool with Son from Spurs? Yes, that is what I put in the headline of tonight's show. There was rumours indeed linking Liverpool with HEUNG-MIN Son, or Son HEUNG-MIN. I'm not sure which way is the correct way to pronounce that, or to put his name. What I find very odd about this one, and maybe you guys can help me out on this one, but as far as I'm aware, every South Korean has to give 2 years national service before the age of 28. Now, bear with me on this one. I think I'm right on that part so far. And I think Son was partially offered an exception if South Korea progressed and did well in the World Cup. Again, I think I'm remembering this correct. So, for any club to be linked with him now, or even Spurs having him as a player, if he is duty bound to do 2 years national service before the age of 28, then he's probably going to have to do that very, very soon. So interesting to know if that's true, or interesting to see if there's any genuine links to Son. I actually think he's a player we should have bought before Spurs bought him. I mean, he was available for quite a while, and everybody knew what a talent he was, and we've seen when he stepped in at Spurs, he's never really let them down. He can be a little bit frustrating at times, but he is capable of doing amazing things. He's a Spurs player, so we're talking about a Spurs player here, so we have to be respectful, but he's a quality footballer. I can't see it happening. I really can't see it happening, but he's an absolute quality footballer who, if he did ever join the club, I'd certainly be behind that 100%. The junior says, Son has an engine like Bobby. Yeah, he does. He's top class. I really like it. Even today, I mean, you could see him on that pitch. He was head and shoulders above any other South Korean player, and he was, as Junior said, he has some engine. He was just running around that pitch. And to be fair, most of the Korean players, they didn't look that tired. I mean, a few of them looked a bit leggy perhaps at the end of the second half, but Son just looked like he could go forever. He is a very, very good footballer. And I agree with Stizer there as well. I don't think he'll leave either, mate. I'd be interested to see what does happen with his national service, if that is the case, because I think he is in and around 28 now, so if he has to do his national service, I mean, look, if they're going to make an exception, surely they will for the most world-renowned footballer, because you can imagine that having HEUNG-MIN Son out there showing how good South Koreans can be at football is of a benefit to the nation, and you'd hope to God that they give him some type of an exception or an exemption. Paul Mill says, evening chaps, let's get hold of that South Korean keeper. I said this the other night, Paul, not that we should go and sign him, I don't want to go that far, but I did say to you guys on a stream that he had massively impressed me so far during this tournament. Obviously, I don't know that much about him, and we're only working off now 3 games that I've seen him play, but he looks like he has all the basics, doesn't he? He looks like he's very capable of stopping shots. He looks like his distribution is very good. I don't know, he just looks so lively, so energetic, and so switched on. And I believe he was the backup keeper as well for the South Korean team, if I remember hearing that one. But yeah, he's looked really, really good. The junior says Son as a backup would be a statement. It would be a fucking brilliant piece of business if it ever happened. He'd slot right in across that front three if any of them were out. Obviously, no, through the centre might be a little bit of a push, although he can play through there. But yeah, he would benefit our team, and he's a real Mauricio Pochettino player, isn't he? I mean, he's exactly what Pochettino was all about: the legs, the press, and the hard work, much like Klopp is in this Liverpool team. So yeah, he's a quality player, and as I said, we're speaking about a Spurs player, so we've got to be respectful to them, of course. But I wouldn't say no. Just put it that way. The junior says Keita's dad is a massive red. He'll never go. Yeah, did you see the pictures of Keita in the old Liverpool kits? I think he openly came out and said that Barcelona were always his dream team, or the team that he always wanted to wear the jersey of, because I think he said Deco was one of his heroes. But yeah, great to see him in the old Liverpool kits. It looks top notch. Cop Idol says they tend to never actually do the national service. Yeah, that's in the common sense you'd expect, wouldn't you, that they would let him have an exemption because of what he's doing for the country and how well he's shown South Koreans around the world. So I'm with you, buddy. I'd like to see him get an exemption, even if that means he's playing for Spurs. Then so be it, because a talent that he has deserves to be on the world stage. So I hope to God you're right, and I hope he doesn't have to do national service, because it just seems mad, doesn't it? I mean, yeah, I suppose we're not South Korean, so we don't really have the right to speak about this on their behalf. But you know, he's an amazing talent, and he deserves to be playing football on the highest level. Stizer reckons he's fecking better than Karius. He looks that way. He does look better than Karius, but I'm only basing my view of him on 3 games, so it's really hard to make a judgment call. But he looks decent. He looks like he's had a damn good World Cup. He can go home happy with his World Cup anyway, that's for sure. Imran coming on every night, loving it. Imran coming on with the same stuff. You're a man that knows what he wants, Imran. Fair play. You come on every night with this Oblak, Lascelles, Nabil and Moses Simon without fail. Well done, top man. You know what you want, and that's a good thing, buddy. That's a good thing. Hopefully the transfer committee are as single-minded as you are in what they're going after, and they know exactly where they're going. Luke Small says, good evening, Craig. Fekir chances being boosted. And Junior says he was named after Deco. There you go. You learn something new every day. Fekir chances being boosted. It's always I've always been of the mind that I think Fekir is going to get done. I've only based this on blind optimism. But yeah, I just always had that feeling that it's going to get done, and I still feel that way. Great that some people are saying there's some more images leaked of him in the kit. I haven't seen them yet because I haven't had a chance to get online today. Most of my day has been spent, editing pod stuff, getting agendas ready for podcasts, and running around after my son. So haven't had a chance to get online just yet. But if anyone can stick a link into one of those pictures in the chat, then please do, and I'll have a look at it later on. Matt says, having seen the World Cup and Champions League, I don't understand how Alisson would be an upgrade over Karius. Certainly not for that kind of money. You're not the only person to say that, Matt, to be fair. I've seen a couple of commentators say that today. He was making small little errors, and they're not really the errors you'd expect of an £80 million goalkeeper. And that is fair to say. As I said, I'm not going to come on. He's the one I want. I'll stand over that. But I'm not going to come on and say he's worth 70, 80 million quid, because if the current goalkeeper record stands in and around 40 million quid, then I understand Liverpool's stance on not wanting to pay twice the current world record. It's kind of a catch-22, isn't it? Like, I mean, we can see what we want and we know who we want, but I understand the club's stance as well to an extent, that they're not willing to be held to ransom over a goalkeeper who may be an upgrade on Karius, but an upgrade to the extent of sacrificing 70, 80 million quid. I don't know. That's the God's honest truth, but I do hope we sort that goalkeeping situation out. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be tough for us to get this done, whatever deal it is. It's going to be tough for everybody to be happy and satisfied at the end of the summer. Hassan, hello guys, good evening to you, mate. Thank you for joining us. Michael as well. Naby Keita has that lovering personality. He's some man, isn't he? He knows how to bust the move as well. He wasn't shy about getting the dance moves out for the videos, was he? I fucking love Naby Keita. I love Naby Keita. I've been saying to you guys since I've come on here that he's the signing I'd be most excited about seeing. Cannot wait to see him take the pitch in that number 8 shirt. Legend. Cannot wait. Absolutely love the fella. The junior says he's watching from Beaumont Hospital. Jesus, I hope you're okay, buddy. I hope nothing serious. Beaumont, so we'll be talking a head injury. Jesus, I hope you're okay. I hope wherever you are, buddy, I hope it's nothing serious. I'll be happy with Son. He's classy. He's a top player. To be fair, he really is. Matt says Mane, Keita, Fabinho, Lovren all can speak French. Now we just need Fekir to join. Absolutely. And Mane and Keita are buddies, aren't they? They played together at Salzburg. I think didn't Keita come out and say he almost sees Mane as a brother to an extent? So happy days on that one. Stizer says he's going to go make a cup, but don't stop the stream. Buddy, I'll be on here for probably another hour and a half, so you won't be getting rid of me that easy. So go make your cup of tea, 2 sugars in mine, and come back and join in the chat, my friend. 2 sugars, cop oil, the same as me, pal. 2 sugars, you know. Some people might say it's a little bit too much, but you know what he likes. 2 sugars it is. Luke Small, one thing about Fekir is the video 100% real? So why would you do an interview before a medical? It wouldn't be unusual for him to do that interview before everything is concluded, especially if they think it's going to get over the line. And I think if it wasn't real, if the images or the videos were bullshit, it would have been, somebody would have come out now and said they were bullshit, or somebody would have been leaked that they were bullshit, a journal, somebody would have been given the nod from the club or from somebody within the club that you can, that's bullshit. You can put, don't believe this. They aren't real images. Paul says, evening Craig, do you think we can hold on to Jurgen Klopp after the Germans went out today? Yeah, I do, but I can't see him taking that job. I'd say Kloppo looks like the type of man who wants to be involved in day-to-day stuff. I think the German job might be something he may look at down the line. He's openly said he doesn't want to be a manager when he's 60, I think, something like that. But yeah, I don't know. The German FA came out and said that even if the worst came to the worst, they were going to back Joachim Low, didn't they? I think I read that somewhere today. But Jesus, that's shitty. That's really, really shitty. For Germany to go out the way they did with a whimper, with the squad that they have and the quality of players that they have, they didn't even look like they were busting a gut there today for me. Everything was just a jogging pace, and yeah, they just look clueless, absolutely clueless, and it's shocking for that German team to go out like that. Matt says you can't link a website unless you're a mod. Oh, my bad, mate. Cheers for letting me know. Yeah, sorry, I did know that. Luke says, why didn't we do Keita on July 1st? No idea. Maybe the club just wanted a little boost. Maybe the club wanted to put a little bit of happy news out there. Things were going a little bit stale perhaps, and not much happening. So maybe they knew Keita was in town and they just said, hey, let's get it done. I'm interested in the picture that was put out of Keita with Stevie G last year, with last year's kit in his hand holding number 8. Which is interesting. So it was obviously settled well back that's the number he was taking. Lovren played in France, if I'm not wrong, Matt. He did. He played with Lyon, buddy. So yeah, he absolutely did play in France. The junior says, I'm buzzing for Keita. He's a hero already. Imagine having the guts to take Gerrard's number. I know. He got big balls, like coming in and saying, give me that number. So fair play to him. And you know what? He's not our player anymore, but I said a similar thing when Emre Can came in and he took number 23. I was quite impressed with how highly he regarded himself, or how well he carried himself, and said, yeah, I understand what the number means, but I'm going to do my best in that number. So brilliant. And it probably would take a player like Naby Keita or somebody to come with a reputation as formed as his already, and to get that number. So yeah, top notch. I'm delighted he's taken that number 8. Yeah, it really means a lot to him, I'm sure, as well, and it's going to be great. It's going to be we're going to enjoy seeing him in that shirt, guys. It's going to be a damn good season. Hassan says, AC Milan keeper maybe, what do you think? Hassan, I'm not sure if you're new to the channel, mate. If you are, thank you for joining. Hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you are. And the reason I say that is because I've said a couple of times that I like Gianluigi Donnarumma. He would be my third choice, but I would always caveat that by saying I think if we got Donnarumma, that we'd almost have to accept that we may see a season to 18 months where he needs to establish himself in the league, and we may see some of the errors that he's been known to make in his time at AC Milan, because he's still such a young man. But I've no doubts in his ability, and if we took Donnarumma in for a reasonable fee, then happy days. Happy days. He'd certainly get a thumbs up from me. Nathan John James says, I know it's not a massive signing, but we've signed Stevie G's cousin Bobby. I read that somewhere he turned down another offer from Manchester City, I think is where he was at, and he ended up signing for Liverpool. I think he's 19 as well, if I remember that part correctly, but you guys know me and my memory, so. But yeah, I did see that today, Nathan. Yeah, look, any bloodline of Stevie's that joins the club is always a good thing, isn't it? It gives Stephen a reason to keep coming back as well. I know he's Rangers manager now, but like, you know, he's going to be Liverpool manager someday, all going well. I'm only visiting, said the junior. That's good to hear. Well, I hope whoever you're visiting as well, whoever that may be in hospital there in Beaumont. So best wishes to them. Louis says, oh yeah, we signed Bobby Duncan. Isn't that his name? Could be. I don't know. I just know him as Steven Gerrard's cousin. Cop Idol says 23 should be Trent's number. That's a shout. That is a shout, buddy. Well done. Great shout. Yeah, so we had Fowler, Carragher, Emerson, and then Trent. Yeah, good shout. I'd be all over that one. Maybe we should start a little online forum for that one. A little petition going, give Trent number 23. He deserves it, and he'd be. I know 23 isn't an 8 or a 7, but it's a number that's well renowned at this football club, and he would be an ideal person to take that shirt. So great show. Naby in getting the extra training done. Yeah, top notch. That's exactly what you want to see from an incoming player, isn't it? What do you think of United agreeing a new 2-year deal for Pubehead? I almost pissed myself laughing when I seen somebody, was it that Duncan Gobshite, that bald-headed twat that's up Mourinho's arse. I don't even know his name. Duncan Castles, is it? Yeah, that's him, Duncan Castles. To come out and say that United have agreed a new 2-year deal with Mario and Fellaini, and then we come out with bang, here's Naby Keita number 8. Levels. I mean, fucking levels, guys, come on. to want to keep that pube-headed twat at their club. Look, I shouldn't be talking about United on here, I apologise. I just mentioned that because I thought it was really funny. Steve says, that image of Fekir says 17-18, so yeah, that would make sense, 17-18, but if somebody was to fake it, then they'd probably do something similar. But again, if it was fake, then it probably would have been outed by now. Cop Idol says, all scouts was wearing 23. Absolutely. Louis says, I think 19 suits Mane. And Steiger says, I uploaded the full interview for everyone to watch of Naby. Cheers, mate. Nice one. Where's my tea? Come on, fair's fair. I'm actually a coffee man, to be fair. What do you guys drink, tea or coffee? I'm always interested to know this stupid fact about people. My wife's a tea drinker. I'm a coffee drinker. I'd say more Irish people are probably tea drinkers. A bit of an odd question for me to ask. Totally non-football related, but it kind of gives me an insight into you guys. Lets me know a little bit more about you. So let me know, tea or coffee. Lalu says, give number 7 to Mane. It's a big number to take, isn't it? Whoever wears that number, I mean, it's a number that's not to be taken lightly. And I mean, yeah, he'd grace number 7. Yeah, he would. Mane's a damn good player. Junior says Fekir's getting number 10. Millie should keep 7, says the junior. I wouldn't mind Mane getting it though, if I'm being honest. But I could understand not taking it off Millie, especially after the season that he's had, because he's been different gravy this season. James Milner, he's been an excellent player. Ben says, is everybody confident on the Fekir signing? It gets a thumbs up from me, buddy. I'm still as confident as ever that that's going to get done. Kevin says, we have Naby Keita. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. What a player. What a player. It's great to see every single Red just as happy as the next Red that Naby Keita is a Liverpool player. I've seen absolutely nobody question him or nobody have any doubts that he'll be a success. Right, going through the answers here. So Ben drinks tea. Cop Idol drinks tea as well. Steve only drinks beer. Top man. Stizer drinks PG Tips. That is a nice tea, to be fair. It'd be one of the ones the mister would drink as well. Paul's a tea man. Hassan's a tea man. Jesus Christ, flat man, got to be brew for me. Coffee gives me migraine, so tea. Kevin, you're the first one, mate, that said coffee. Munaeen as well, coffee. DZB, tea. Jesus. Tea's winning this by a landslide. Thomas is straight in with coffee. The juniors, coffee as well. David says, I have the fear that Man United will sneak in and take Fekir. Well, there was links, wasn't there? There was a link somewhere to say the Jose Mourinho, or was it a link, or was it Johnny Cuntylocks, aka Mr. Oulas, coming out and saying that he'd spoke to Jose Mourinho about Nabil Fekir, but it definitely was in the media somewhere. Junior says he drinks coffee. The Bad Elf, Pepsi. Oh, Pepsi. I don't know if we can be friends anymore, man. I'm Diet Coke, man, through and through. Even though you couldn't see that was Diet Coke, you just seen a fucking silver can. But yeah, Diet Coke for me, man, through and through. Pepsi is, it's dirt. I gotta be honest, it's dirt, buddy. But look, each man to their own. Nathan says, gotta be Yorkshire tea. James Milner, bit of Yorkshire tea. Don't know what the fuck accent that was, by the way, so excuse me on that one. Don't know where that came from. The junior says, United can compete with us for players. Imagine Fekir going to United and Mourinho probably ended up playing him a left wing back or something like that. I mean, just fucking ruining the fella's mind, his career, breaking his spirit. Aaron Lennon says, the Fab Six, Mane, Bobby, Salah, Cato, Fabinho, Fekir. Oh, it'd be fucking sweet, wouldn't it? I mean, when you're just saying off names like that and rattling them off, it looks good, doesn't it? I mean, you can really see that we've progressed as a football club. Louis says he wasn't expecting the video to be announced today. You don't like any of them, to be fair. I don't know if you're talking about the videos here or tea or coffee, but what do you guys think of the video? We spoke about it last night. We spoke about how cheesy and shitty some of the welcome to the club videos can be, particularly from other clubs. We see obviously United's Alexi one. Some of you guys let me know about the Fred video and said it was shit, but what did you think of the Naby Keita one? I thought it was pretty well done, to be fair. It wasn't over the top. It was pretty simple. It looked like he was having a laugh, and I mean, I'd give it a thumbs up. Ben says his teas are the best. Got that fresh Jersey milk. Robbie's tea as well. Or is it Iron Brew? Sorry, I thought you said I'm Brew there. So Iron Brew. Scottish. Nice. Andrew Robertson should be full on spokesperson for Iron Brew at this point. Cop Idol says nobody questions Klopp signings anymore. That's why all the LFC family is happy. Spot on. And we don't have the right anymore to question him, do we? I mean, you look at what he's done for his last few. Yes, look, we can look at Karius and we can talk about Karius, but 4.5 million as well is all he paid for Karius. So if you look at the work him and the transfer committee have done on their last few signings, I'm right with you there, mate. We can't question them. They've definitely earned the benefit of the doubt. The White Warrior says no Loftus-Cheek, he's useless. Interesting. I haven't watched that much of Loftus-Cheek. I've more seen the cameos he's made for England than anything else, but I would have thought that he's a footballer that's rated quite highly. I mean, anybody who's watched more of him than me seems to speak very highly of him and say he's a beast. And he's very capable of holding his own at the highest level. So interesting to hear that you wouldn't rate him, because the little bits I've seen of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, he's looked pretty good. Whoa, what the fuck is this shit? Hang on a minute here. Richard straight in with the tea, no sugar, with either cheese and crackers or Jaffa cakes. Fucking Jaffa cakes. I mean, I draw the line here. I mean, Jaffa cakes. Jaffa fucking... You can't even tell. Are they a biscuit or a cake? And the issue I have with Jaffa cakes here, Richard, and I apologise I'm going off on one. You can't tell when the fucking things are stale. It's a Jaffa cake. Like, it's this horrible, dark chocolated... And I like orange chocolate. I should put my hands up there and say, Terry's chocolate orange, I'm all over it. But Jaffa cakes? Come on. I need Jaffa cakes, Richard. Come on, ask yourself. Jaffa cakes? Really, buddy? Cheese and crackers, fair enough, but Jaffa cakes. You're better than that, Richard. You're better than that, mate. What else have we got? LFC having so much pulling power of late, it's incredible. it's great. And it's something we spoke the other night, Nathan, about the time Mario got to, we were trying to get him, and how it all seemed to hinge on the fact if we beat Sevilla and got into the Champions League, and how he turned his nose up at us when, well, it might not be just because of that, but he just didn't fancy coming to the club. And you look at the difference between then and now, and the calibre of footballer that we're able to even turn our nose up at. It's night and day. People want to come and play for Jurgen Klopp, play the style of football Jurgen Klopp plays. People want to come and play in front of that Anfield crowd. And people want to be part of something really, really special, which it looks like we're building here. Mr. Mac, your average gamer, says, what's the links with Son? There was a couple of links, mate, in one of the papers suggesting that Liverpool were interested in HEUNG-MIN Son. I'm not sure. I think there's some situation maybe around his Spurs contract, if it's running down or something. There was also the issue around him having to do 2 years national service for South Korea, but Cop Idol mentioned earlier on that he thinks that a lot of the South Koreans can get that pushed back or just get it taken away altogether. But yeah, there has been links, mate, linking Liverpool with a move for HEUNG-MIN Son. Now, you know, it's not me saying we're definitely in for him. I'm just going off a couple of links from papers that have put this out there. But the general feedback, Mr. Mac, from the guys in the chat here has been that if he was to come to Liverpool, it looks like most people would be pretty damn happy with having him at the club, and I'd certainly be one of those people. Would you like to see him at the club? What do you rate him as a footballer? I know it's not right for us really to speak about a player that's a Spurs player. It's not our business, and it's probably not proper, but we're only having this chat because he's been linked with the club, so let me know your opinion. The Bad Elf says, what about the Son link? Any truth in it? I'd love to see him at LFC. I've just gone through that one, so again, let me know if you guys think if there's any truth to it, or if it's just media nonsense. The Junior says, Naby seems so chill, but he's an animal on the pitch. Again, perfect description. I'd rather have him on my team than playing against them. Let me say that about Naby Keita. He's certainly a player. I mean, we often speak about Luis Suarez and Diego Costa, and I suppose fucking to an extent we probably put what's his name with the same fucking breath as that as well. Here I go, having one of my moments again where I can't remember anybody's fucking name. Ramos. We probably put Ramos in the same type of camp as these lads with Naby Keita, where he's one of them lads that would bug the shit out of you if you were playing against them or you're an opposing fan. But when he's in your team, you think very, very highly of him. And I think Naby Keita is going to rub a lot of people up the wrong way, but he's going to become an absolute hero to Reds up and down the country or all around the world. Kevin says, Alisson, Naby Keita, Fekir, Fabinho, Mane, Salah, Milner, Henderson, Shaqiri. Just linking off names that it looks good to me. I mean, it looks good to me. I didn't see the Switzerland game tonight. I know they drew 2-2. Did anybody watch the game, or was everyone like me watching the Brazil game? If so, how did Shaqiri play? Was he alright? Did he have any flashes of brilliance? Stizer says, Jaffa power. You loving the Jaffa cakes as well? I mean, come on, lads. I thought you were better than this. Jaffa cakes. Don't get me started on Jaffa cakes. Jaffa cakes are the Satan's biscuit. I mean, fucking... I'd be very, very confident, actually. Yeah, no, would I? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd be quite confident that Jimmy Savile ate Jaffa cakes. Definitely. That's how much I dislike them fucking biscuits. Or cakes, whichever camp you want to put them in. What else have we got there? Sorry, just seeing something else. Let me scroll through. Have Milan got any players we could tempt? Haven't watched them for ages. Interestingly, Flatman, I seen a while ago, and I don't know if this has gone through. I imagine with their issues it might be delayed a little bit, but I seen that Pepe Reina was supposed to sign for AC Milan, so that makes you question the availability of Gianluigi Donnarumma. He must, like, are the club looking to push him out, or are they looking to bring somebody in to back him up? Because usually his brother was his understudy at the club, so I always assumed that once they were linked to Pepe Reina that Donnarumma was available, and you would imagine that with the issues they have, that their players would have a price on their head. So they certainly have to clean up their act for FFP. So I would imagine, look, they can be got at if there's any particular players that you're interested in or other clubs are interested in. I'd imagine that most of them do have a price on their head. Joseph says, I agree with him. Loftus-Cheek, not an LFC player. If anyone can handle that number 8 jersey, it's Naby. He's a real player. He is. He's a top player. And again, great to see all you guys having as much confidence in him as everybody else and as me and every other fucking red around the world. Everyone just cannot wait to see him take the field. It's great to see so many of you again in the chat tonight. You hear me say this all the time, but if you haven't yet subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Help us grow the channel. When I was coming on tonight, I think we were like 1 off 1200 or something, so hopefully we get there by the end of this stream. It's only 1 subscriber, so if one more person that's watching the stream hasn't subscribed, just hit that button. Help us hit that 1200 and then I'll shut the fuck up. But look, back to the LFC chat. And the White Warrior says, more chance of getting Harry Kane out of Spurs than Son. Come on. I don't know is the honest answer, buddy. I'm assuming there's something around his contract, or he's refusing to sign a new one. I don't know. I didn't take the time to really read in to the details enough because I haven't had the time. I was probably hoping one of you guys would have bailed me out on that one because you guys are so damn good on here. Every time I'm frozen or forget something, you guys put the answer up for me straight away. Can anyone tell me what Jesus does for that Brazil team? Mate, Flatman, I've been asking myself the same question. I even posted it on Twitter. How can Tete still not know that Bobby Firmino would offer a lot more to that team than Jesus? It's just madness to me. Absolute madness. Look, Jesus is a very, very good footballer. I'm not going to slate the guy. He's a very talented player. But it's night and day with what he and Bobby can offer that Brazil team. I mean, bringing Jesus on perhaps when teams are flagging or you need a goal, yeah, completely get that. But to bench Bobby Firmino to play Jesus doesn't make sense to me at all. It just doesn't. I mean, I understand why Willian's in the team because Willian works damn hard. And he works up and down and covers back. But I said this as well on Twitter. Can you imagine how good a footballer Neymar would be if he actually put in a bit of fucking effort during a game? I mean, none of us are going to come on here and say that he's not an immensely talented footballer. He certainly is, and he can do stupidly amazing things with a football. But to me, his attitude just fucking stinks. He just does not put the effort in. Felipe Coutinho puts the hard yards in. Even Jesus that we spoke about there a second ago, he puts the yards in. Willian puts the yards in. Marcelo, every single one of those players in that Brazilian team put the hard yards in, but Neymar just seems to want to stroll around the pitch, not track back, stand there with his hands on his hips, take too much out of the ball on occasions where there's better passes on, but he's trying to run across the line of the 18-yard box to free himself up for a shot, or he's getting a niggly foul, somebody's tipping away his ankles, and rather than releasing the ball, he tries to turn back on them to instigate a foul just because he wants to roll around on the ground. It's nuts. He drives me fucking demented. But as I said, he is a hugely talented footballer. If he had the attitude that Lionel Messi has, even that Cristiano Ronaldo has, because yes, Cristiano does have a little bit of theatrics about him, but he works for his team. You can see him back there defending every corner. He does put the effort in, even with his older legs. So it's one of the things that drives me mad. Absolutely drives me mad about watching Neymar play football. What else have we got here in the chat? Styles says they are true now. I gather you're talking about Brazil. Yeah, they look pretty impressive tonight, to be fair. They didn't really seem to have to get out of second gear. I mean, Serbia had their spells during the game, and Serbia are a good, solid football team. They have a little bit of creativity, but they have a lot of passion, a lot of dedicated footballers to put in, as I keep saying, the hard yards. So yeah, I'm sad to kind of see Serbia go out because I have a soft spot for them as a team, but Brazil look like they can go pretty far in this tournament. Joseph said, missed the Brazil match. What did it finish? 2-0, mate. 2-0 to Brazil. Goals from Paulinho and centre back, not Marquinhos. Their other centre back scored a header from a corner. The White Warrior said, Bobby be well rested for the start of the Premier League, lads, if he's kept on the bench. Absolutely, and there is that side to it. There's definitely an upside to it for us that he's not going to come back absolutely knackered, but you just imagine from a Brazil standpoint, I mean, he's a better player. He's a better all-round player than Jesus. And Jesus, has he done anything yet in the tournament? He hasn't done anything stupid. He hasn't really put in a terrible performance, but not to justify starting the 3 games, it just doesn't seem right to me. And Bobby didn't even get on the pitch tonight, by the way. So that's fucking madness. Stizer says Germany are also out. That, I have to say, going into today, I do like a bet. I do like putting a bet on now. And I backed Germany right throughout this tournament pretty heavily in each game. And they've just looked like a shadow of the team that they were 4 years ago. They look like they've aged overnight. And looking at that game today as well, Joachim Low needed things to change. He needed an injection of pace. He needed urgency. And he goes and brings on Thomas Muller. And leaves Julian Brandt sitting on the bench until the 80th minute. It makes no sense what he did there today. Absolutely no sense. They looked absolutely knackered, that German team. And Julian Brandt, we seen the chaos he caused and how close he came the other night when he came on at the end. And to leave him on the bench till the 80th minute when you're chasing a game to keep you in the World Cup, it just seemed absolutely madness to me. They reverted the type and they brought on Gomez early in the second half, hoping they could pump balls into the box. Now that is not what Germany are about. That's not how Germany won the World Cup. Germany won the World Cup with incisive, fast play, believing in themselves, obviously, having high technical gifted players, and never giving up. And this tournament, they just, okay, look, they got the great result against Sweden, but that's it. They went out there and they got beaten today, and, you know, the second goal was obviously only because Germany were pressing to score, but I'm very, very disappointed in that German team. I really am. I mean, I'm also pissed off because I wanted to see those beautiful shirts of theirs go far in the tournament, because both their home and away are 2 of my favourite shirts. So, but the good news is I might get them cheap now. They might be on sale as the tournament goes on, yeah, because they might want to shift them. Sean says 23, the Scouts number. We're talking about Trent here, I gather, hopefully again, and I think it was Cop Idol earlier on gave a shout for giving Trent Alexander-Arnold a number 23, and that would be a great show. Money says, I think Croatia are performing well. They might go deep in the tournament. Absolutely. And if I remember correctly, aren't Croatia getting the runner-up of the English group? Is that right? Do I have that one correct? So, if so, or is it... No, sorry, I have that one incorrect, don't I? Whoever Croatia get in the tournament anyway, as you've said, Money, and they look like a very, very talented side. I think Chris gave them the greatest compliment that he possibly could on our pod the other night, where he said that Croatia looked like a club team. And I thought that was a very, very good description. They do. They look like they know what each other are at. They look like they know each other's game, and they look like they know what the fuck is going to happen when a player makes a run or when a player goes into an area. So yeah, they're a really well-drilled team, and they will go for it. They'll take some stopping. It'll take a good team to put that Croatia team out of the tournament. Kevin Smith says, Neymar is fucking lazy. I don't like him. Coutinho, William, and Hazel, I'm not sure who that is, are much better players than Neymar. Look, as I said, and we have to caveat this by saying that Neymar is capable of absolute moments of genius, because he is. But he'd be so much better if he put in the fucking effort and stopped rolling around and stopped looking to make the headlines and stopped looking to be, like, I mean, crying after the first game, or when they won the game 2-1 and he scored. I mean, crying. I mean, come on, they weren't under that much pressure at that point. I just don't like the guy. I just don't like him one bit. I really lost all respect for him when he moved to PSG. Cop Idol says, do you not think the defending is shocking at this World Cup? It has been. It's been really poor. Especially from the higher ranked sides. I mean, some of the defending from teams like, I suppose, South Korea maybe, or even Switzerland at times. Denmark have looked very good defensively in this tournament. They've conceded, I think, maybe 1 goal as a penalty in the entire tournament. But I agree on the whole, the big teams, their defences haven't looked great at all. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes as the tournament goes on. I'm actually really interested to see how far England go in this tournament, because I think even the most optimistic of us didn't give them a great chance going in here, but they look like Gareth Southgate has got them pretty well drilled, and they know what each other is about. So yeah, be interesting to see how they do. Phil says it's Croatia versus Denmark. that has the makings of an absolute bore fest to me, Phil. Just because of Denmark, not because of Croatia, because as I said earlier on, I rate Croatia very highly, but it's gonna take a lot of creativity to get through that Danish defense, because they really just sit back and hope that Eriksson can do something for them. And why not? It's knockout football now. I mean, they're within their rights to try and take these things to fucking penalties or whatever. I mean, absolutely perfectly within their rights. Joseph says Colombia looks shit hot. I'm a big fan of Colombia, Joseph. They have won me over in this tournament. Them and their fans and the passion that they play with and how much it means to each and every... And I mean real passion, not that bullshit Neymar passion, like crying for the sake of it. Them Colombians, they really want to go far in this tournament, and I'm right behind them. So great show, and I hope they get through, and I hope they do really well, because I really, really like them. The Raptor says, but he's not being proven right though, is he? I'm not sure what that's in relation to, buddy. I may have missed further up in the conversation. Damo says Klopp immediately saw Bobby. Bobby was better than the so-called big names like Benteke, Balotelli, and could build a team and systems around him. Brazil coach just picking big names. That's true. I mean, I think Liverpool were looking at Firmino before Klopp arrived, but I'm damn sure Klopp would have known all about him. But I think Liverpool's interest in Firmino goes back away. But you're right, Klopp came in, and Klopp seeing what he could get out of Firmino and seeing what he could develop Bobby into. And when he arrived at the club, did any of us see Bobby Firmino playing through the centre in the number 9? I mean, I think most of us thought of him maybe as an attacking mid, perhaps a wide player across the front 3. But to play through the middle, I mean, fair play to Jurgen for coming up with that one, because it's been an absolute hit. An absolute hit. We can argue that you could bring in a number 9 who's an out-and-out goal poacher, but for what he brings to the entire front line, he's irreplaceable for me. Flatman says Degsy Lovren has been very good. He has. He's been absolute quality. I think since... Now, somebody can pick me up on this if I'm wrong, but I think since he had that nightmare at White Hart Lane, I think that was a turning point for him. I don't think he's looked back since. I think he's been very, very consistent in the Champions League final. I thought he was one of our better players. He's won me over again. I really like Dejan Lovren. I know he has a mistake in him. I know he's rash. I know he can do silly things from time to time, but having Big Verge beside him seems to have really, really helped his game. The Junior says, Bobby's the best false 9 in the world. I'm right behind you. I mean, we've heard people talking about Timo Werner. And I've spoken about Timo Werner before as well, and I've said how raw he is, but he didn't show up. He didn't show up at all during this World Cup for Germany. He certainly hasn't increased his credentials. He certainly won't have any more teams other than teams, there might have been interest in him already, but he won't have more country or teams banging down his door to try and bring him in. He's been very disappointing as well, as have that entire fucking German team. Cop Idol thinks Belgium look good defensively. They just look like a good side, full stop. Although it'd be interesting to see how they handle the English attack, particularly if they play Harry Kane or Jamie Vardy. I think he'll do a job on them as well. If they bring in Company against England, I think that's a massive mistake. If he's fit and they bring him back in, because I think the Sterling and that will just tear him to shreds. I think they'd be too fast for him. But look, Belgium are just a quality side. My biggest issue with Belgium, and I think their undoing in the end, will be their manager and how tactically inept he is, because I don't rate Roberto Martinez at all. Nathan says, now Germany is out, it's coming home. Can you imagine if England won the World Cup? Jesus Christ. We'd never hear the end of it. I mean, it would be an amazing feat for them, and you congratulate them, but we'd never hear the end of it. Like, we'd be hearing about 2018 in 2040. Hassan thinks Senegal can go deep. They can. Again, it's going to be interesting to see how they got on in their last game. I can't remember the points. I can't remember Senegal's points. Are Senegal through at this point, or do they have 4 points? I can't remember how that group is actually fixed, but of all the African nations, they always look like the one to me that could go far in the tournament. They have quality throughout that team. And they look like they've got a really good manager. I know he was part of the 2002 squad or whatever, but Aliou Cisse, is that the manager's name? They look like a very, very capable side, and they are a huge, like, I think most African nations are renowned for being big, physical, athletic teams, but Senegal look like they have that mix of athleticism and guile, and obviously they have Sadio Mane as well, so that doesn't hurt. The junior says Croatia are brilliant, Denmark a very boring side. They are, but I find it very hard to criticise Denmark. I mean, I'm from Ireland, and we're renowned for sitting back trying to pinch 1-0s or 1-1 draws and try and beat teams on penalties or an extra time. So I know, I'm pot calling the kettle black here if I come on and start slagging off Denmark. But I suppose when you have a Christian Eriksen in your team, it will be very easy to just have a solid defence and hope that Christian Eriksen can pull something out of the bag, because he's more than capable. Phil thinks Denmark are wank, and I can't wait for them to go out. I really can't. Sean says, Craig, why don't you set up a website and do all content through using Patreon? You'll have loyal people who'll all pay a small fee, so we can always help you out. Look, we do actually have a website. We're rebuilding it. With the name change, we were obviously Talk of the Terrace, so we had tottsport.com. We do own AnfieldAgenda.com, and we will be building a site on there. But we do actually have, not a Patreon account. Again, Connor's the man here, so he'll tell you. We do have an account. And obviously we will be set up for Super Chats and that very soon. We're just in the process of being monetized here by YouTube. We're just waiting for the go-ahead. But I don't feel comfortable ever dishing out Patreon links or asking people to give us money or sponsor us or anything like that. It's just something I've never felt comfortable about. I mean, I'm not going, obviously stuff like that helps, and I fund this myself at the minute, and it's I'll be honest with you, it's not a hugely expensive thing to fund, but obviously as we grow and we want to put out more content and we want to bring on more people and we want to be more creative in what we do, then yeah, of course, the likes of Patreon and things like that, and anybody who has, like, I mean, we did have a donation recently. Rod, you guys might know Rod. He's all on here recently. He sent a donation our way recently. We do have a PayPal Me that we can get money on and stuff like that. And we do have, is it Ko-fi? Is that what it's called? I think it's Ko-fi. We do have a Ko-fi link in that as well, but I just don't feel comfortable, mate. I don't feel comfortable asking people for money or sticking out links and stuff like that. But one thing I will say, and I will promise you guys, is all our content is free, and all our content will always be free, whether that's podcasts, whether that's videos, whether that's YouTube shows, watch-alongs, whatever it might be. Going forward, all the Anfield Agenda content is free and always will be 100% free. That I can promise you. If it gets to a point where you guys enjoy what we do and you do want to ever have a super chat, or you do want to ever send us a few quid or sponsor the show, or throw a few quid our way for something, great, we can talk about that down the line. I would always be happy, but our main goal is to come on here, chat with you guys about the Reds, have a bit of a laugh, put out as much content as we can, as our budget allows and as our time allows, and just grow and have a laugh and enjoy Liverpool with you guys and enjoy the journey that Klopp and these Reds are on. So thank you for the suggestion, buddy, and we may well have another chat about that down the line, but it's not money just is not our motivation. It's completely down our list. But of course, to grow anything, it is a necessity. So I get where you're coming from. Cop Idol says, I'm a big fan of Colombia's produce. Yeah. And I think Diego might be a fan as well. Cop Idol, mate. I mean, we've seen the state of him last night. He looked like he may have partaken a little bit too much. But that's Diego. I mean, they're proper footballers. I mean, he looks the George Best of this world and that. But yeah, and I'm assuming you're talking about coffee there, Cop Idol. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, because the Colombians do make some fine coffee. Brian says, Neymar needs to stop showboating, pass the ball, needs to gain match fitness. Tite wants Neymar and Jesus firing before the knockouts. An awkward point to chop and change. Firmino for Jesus. That's why I thought he may have done it here, Brian. I thought he may have used tonight's game as an opportunity to give Jesus a rest and to bring Bobby Firmino on and give Firmino at least 60 minutes, 70 minutes, see how he gets on, and then have Jesus having fresher legs for the knockout stages. If I'm being really honest, I thought by this point Firmino would have won over Tete, and he may have got the nod. I think a lot of Reds hoped that come the knockout stages we'd see Firmino starting up front. But then, as people pointed out earlier on, if he doesn't play, he doesn't work. Or if he doesn't play, he doesn't run down his legs, and he's fresher for us when he comes back. So it's a win-win from a Liverpool point of view. Mark says, good at him at work. I'm driving home now, but then I'll be catching up with the show. Make sure everybody smashes the like and subscribe button. You heard Mark. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Mark's going to be on your case. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And give us a vote for fuck Jaffa Cake, because we do not like Jaffa Cakes. Fuck Jaffa Cakes. See, Jaffa Cakes, they're part of the problem. We often say to you guys, don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. Well, I'm adding Jaffa Cakes to the list of the problems. So Jaffa Cakes is now number 4 on the list of problems. So Jaffa Cakes, no. Money Ian says Lovren is looking solid in the Croatia team. Hopefully he'll keep his head up. England got the big game tomorrow against Belgium. What are you expecting from that game, guys? I mean, the cynics out there are thinking that both teams almost want to lose that game because it works out better for them. They seem to get an easier last 16 game if they do lose it. So it'll be interesting to see how much effort and what type of teams both countries put out tomorrow. I'm just trying to catch up to the chat here, guys, so bear with me. Bobby needs a rest, very leggy at the end of last season. I'm happy he ain't playing much. Good news in my opinion. That's what Phil has to say. And yeah, absolutely, Phil. From a Liverpool standpoint, it isn't too shabby at all that he's not playing. I just, being a fan of Bobby Firmino, I want to watch him play, and I'm sure you do as well. But if he was to be playing and get injured, then, you know what, I'd be right with you, and I'd be thinking, why the fuck? Why? And it's great that so far all of our players, I think there's only 7 of them actually at the World Cup, but they've all got through injury free. And we haven't actually seen any major injuries yet in the World Cup, full stop. Not that I'm aware of. Anyway, obviously there was a couple of minor things, and Marcelo went off today, so I've got no idea how bad that was for him. But yeah, it's been good to see people's fitness being held up through the tournament so far. Cop Idol says, been trying all season at away games to get Bobby a decent tune. Yeah, he deserves one. He really does. You go to away games as well. That's fucking excellent, mate. Well done. Congrats. It's been a weird. I've always wanted to do an away, but you know yourself, the tickets are like gold dust, so I've never got to do one. But I'm hoping maybe to even do a European away next season with Connor. Hopefully we end up in Germany somehow, and we can meet up with Dave and that. But yeah, I'd imagine that the atmosphere in the away end would be absolutely awesome. So enjoy next season, enjoy those aways, and they're only going to get better, aren't they, buddy? Because this team is going places. Louis says Ozil is so lazy as well. He's really overrated. Again, what did he bring to that team? What did Ozil actually offer that German team in this tournament? Ozil, Ozil and Thomas Muller in particular for me and that German team looked absolutely useless. They gave absolutely nothing to the cause whatsoever. Timo Werner looked like he was snatching at things. He looked like the young player that he is that isn't quite settled in. Julian Brandt has looked bright enough in the minor appearances he's got. But the defence hasn't looked great at all, has it? Not at all. And they looked a real fucking shambles when Mats Hummels wasn't playing in the second game. But they're gone. They're out now, so nothing they can do about it. Flatman says Lukaku was out of tomorrow's game. Nathan John says the same thing. Phil says breaking Leon to offer Fekir a new deal. They did mention that, didn't they? I think they said that recently that they're going to try and keep him. I think it's just, again, Phil, I would say that that's just media bullshit. And by media bullshit, I mean from Outlast. I don't mean from the media making up shit. I mean, they're going to try everything. They're going to pull every fucking trick in the book to make it look like they're doing everything that they can to keep him, aren't they? But it looks like he's off, and I'd be amazed if he signs a new deal. Because after him saying to the fans and to the club that he wants to move on by letting it known he wants to join Liverpool, him being a Leon lad and a Leon person through and through, it would be very tough for him to turn back and then go back to Leon. So I would imagine he's moving, and hopefully that move will be to Liverpool. But I'm not surprised that Leon are going to offer him a new deal. Ben says Croatia are the outside winners for me. And who would be your favourites, guys? Going off what we've seen so far in this World Cup, who would be your favourites to go all the way? I've said from the start, I'm behind Spain. I don't think they've been the most impressive as the tournament's gone on, but I'm a bit of a romantic, and I'd love to see Spain go on and win it, because I'd love to see Iniesta go out with another World Cup, because I'm a huge fan of his. I love watching him play. So yeah, Spain for me, but I'd be interested to see who you guys are behind for the World Cup, apart from obviously England if you're English. I mean, I understand that 100%. Styger says he'll reject it. He's coming to us. He wants Liverpool. Phil says I didn't say he would sign it. No, I know you did, mate. I know you were just putting the news into the chat. I don't think anybody was having a go with you either. Money says per team selection from the German coach, Sané should be part of that squad. Wasn't the reasoning behind leaving Sané out that when it came down to that decision between Brandt and Sané, their records for the country were completely different. Sané had never really done anything for Germany when he played. I don't think he'd even scored a goal, whereas maybe Julian Brandt had banged in a few or something. But I suppose the question might be, why was it one or the other with them? Why didn't they bring both young players and leave somebody like a Thomas Muller or... Well, I can't imagine them leaving the nose on. Thomas Muller is, I suppose, the fucking one of the darlings of German football, but yeah, I think they both should have went. They've done shit, so if they had have went with a young team or brought younger players and they done as bad, well, at least they blooded them in. At least they've given them the World Cup experience, and now they're going to have to make massive changes before the European Championships in 2020. Stephen says, Craig, you have listeners from Jamaica. That is fucking mental. That's crazy and brilliant. I'm delighted to know that. I do get a breakdown of where our podcasts are listened to in the analytics and the stuff that I get from Podbean, who are the people that host our podcast. But just chatting and interacting and knowing people are from Jamaica, and last night there was people on from India, there was people on from New York, there was people on from Canada, and it's just mental. I really makes me feel really small, as it's such a massive part of the world, but brilliant. It's just great news. Listeners in Jamaica, that's class. I actually visited Jamaica a few years back, so I've been in the country. Is that, so that makes us a little bit closer. Cap Idol says, it's not taking money if your subscribers want to help, mate. Yeah, that's a fair point. It's a fair point. I've always felt uneasy about some people who almost come on and beg. If that makes any sense. But look, we will put out links to our Ko-fi account in the future or whatever it is. And if you guys want to help out, you want to chuck in a few quid, buy us a pint or buy a super chat or whatever, then that's completely up to you. But it's not going to be anything we'll ever push your way, because it ain't what we're about. We're, as I said, we just want to come on here and have a laugh. But these things do exist, and everything does cost a bit of money, so you never know. We'll wait and see. Ben says his favourites are Brazil or Belgium. Thomas Boland says Ozil over Sané, what was the problem? Joseph says Jerome Boateng looked dodgy and he's getting linked to us as well. See, he's an example of a player who before the World Cup, Joseph, when I seen these links, I was thinking that's a good link. I wouldn't mind Jerome Boateng at Liverpool, 28 years of age, and I think the fee mentioned was around 30 million quid, something like that. But after this World Cup and after getting to watch him a bit more closely, he looks absolute gash. He really looks terrible. And surely he can't have been that bad for Bayern Munich. But yeah, he's looked absolute crap. Absolute shite. So I hope to God he doesn't end up at Liverpool at this point. But before the tournament I would have said, yeah, great move. Phil says Spain are his favourite. Sam says Nabil is coming to Daddy Jurgen. Daddy Jurgen, that actually has a weirdly nice ring to it, doesn't it? That's weird. Sorry, went off track there. The Bad Elf says Brazil will be my pick to win it. Before the tournament I thought France, but they've been poor. Yeah, I suppose the thing about France is, though, it's all about peaking at the right time, isn't it? So if they do hit a little bit of form now that they're in the knockout stages, tournament football is just about peaking at the right time. So France, as we said before, have the squad and the players that are capable of putting in performances, but we haven't quite seen it just yet. I actually don't like Griezmann, if I'm being honest. I seem to be on a bit of a rant tonight about players I don't like. He's another player. Actually, I liked him right up until this recent video nonsense. I found that massively disrespectful to his Atletico Madrid teammates, that he filmed 2 endings to this and only told the TV station an hour or so beforehand which one to put out of whether he was going to move to Barca or not. I find that very disrespectful to his teammates, and it was just another one of these all about me moments that I don't think he's justified yet. He's been a good footballer, but he's not up there at that level yet. I think he'll regret not going to Barcelona personally. Tay says, I think the German FA will come in for Klopp. There's no way we're letting him go. Not a hope. He's got what, 5 years, 6 years left on that deal he signed. I don't think Klopp will want to manage Germany. Just yet, I should say, because he seems like someone that wants to be involved in the day-to-day stuff, and he seems like a man who wants to see through a project. And he's only starting this project at Liverpool, and he's after putting so much work into it, and he's after getting so close that I cannot imagine him walking away at this moment in time. If this had happened maybe 2 years down the line, I'd probably be a little bit more nervous, but as it stands and with where he is in his project, I can't see him wanting to leave us now. Darren says, it's a fab channel, mate. Top info. Thank you. And thank you, Darren. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hopefully subscribing. And thanks for joining us. Connor says, right Craig, right all your Reds. I'm going to imagine that says night. So good night, Connor. Paul says, I couldn't bear it if Spain win the World Cup. They already made my life a living hell when Madrid won the Champions League. Would like to even it up with England. I mean, if England win the World Cup, that's up there with Leicester winning the Premier League, probably. But we never say never. They're capable. They have the players. It's tournament football. Anything is possible. If they can avoid a penalty shootout the whole way through, then you never know. It's about time. If England do go to penalties, I know I'm sitting there and I have a little in-play bet or something, I probably am going to back them to win one, because they have to fucking win one eventually, don't they? Flatman9 says, just had a look, Raptor and Twitter site. It's a new one with not many followers, etc. Was there a link somewhere that we're talking about here then? Flatman, and will something pop up? Because what is it now? The 10:30 news should be out. So is anything interesting out? Any of the papers put out anything interesting tomorrow linking the Reds with anybody? When does the World Cup even end? I think there's 2 weeks left. Is that about right? Maybe a little bit longer. So what are we now? The World Cup ends in the middle of July, I think, as far as I know. And that gives the players the players then have to go off and have their holidays. So can you imagine how crazy the transfer window is going to be? We're going to have 3 or 4 weeks of absolute bedlam. Louis says, I really want De Ligt now, but it seems as though Jimenez signed a new contract. De Ligt is somebody who's been mentioned a lot. He's very, very young though, isn't he? I think is he 18 or 19? But he looks like a very, very talented footballer. And I know Dave speaks very highly of him and rates him very highly, and he's praying that we sign him as well. Steiger says, I want France out so we get Fekir. And also because he hasn't lived the tournament up. That's another good point there. Because Aulas has been holding off praying that Fekir has his moment of magic and lights up the tournament and his price goes stratospheric, and so far so good. It hasn't happened. He's looked okay when he's come on. He's done little bits, and yeah, so as soon as they go out, we're going to see things move probably a lot quicker, or at least we're going to get the truth about what happened, because I imagine once he leaves the French squad, he's going to let it be known what is happening or what did happen. Sean says, Craig, would you rather have Shaqiri and Asensio or Fekir and Alisson? Fekir and Alisson, for me, all day long. I know how good of a player Asensio is, and look, Shaqiri is what he is. Like, he's a good player at that money, but Fekir and Alisson for me all day long, because I think they fill 2 spaces that we badly need filled. But let me know your thoughts, Sean. I hope I'd imagine maybe you're thinking along the same lines. But then again, I always think everybody thinks along the same lines as me. Ben says, Argentina will beat France on Saturday, Louis, so we'll see him soon. That's going to be a very, very interesting game, isn't it? I mean, two teams who haven't hit the heights yet, but Argentina have shown a will to get through, a will to win, a will to just about scrape over the line. I think Mascherano has looked shit, by the way. Ever Banega has been the standout player for me. Well, obviously just in the last game. And I was shouting from the command. I was saying to you guys the week before, like, I can't believe that he was left out of the last game. So Ever Banega, I think, will have a big say in how far Argentina go in this tournament. And obviously Messi will as well. But the goalkeeper they brought in actually looked a lot better as well. I think is he River Plate's goalkeeper or something? He's 31 years of age, but he looked a lot more solid than that plank from that used to play for Manchester City. He looked absolutely awful. Willie Caballero, is that his name? Yeah, he looked like, I mean, we spoke about Karius' fuck up in the Champions League final. That was up there. I don't know what he was trying to do. Trying to chip a ball over a fucking player in his own 18-yard box. Nuts. Stiger says, imagine we won it on penalties. That would be the most English way ever of winning the World Cup, wouldn't it? That would probably be the only way they could put this penalty hoodoo to bed, would be to win the World Cup on penalties. And if they do it, and if they are to hit the winning penalty, I just pray to God it's not Harry Kane that takes it, because that would be unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. Kevin Smith says, we'll be the best team next season. We will be there or thereabouts anyway. I'm fully with you there. We're not too far away at all. Ben says, I've got Fekir on the back of my shirt. Philip says the World Cup ends July 15th, 16th. I'm not sure what to get yet, Ben. I just have the plain shirt at the minute, but I'm going to get the grey one, the third shirt, when that comes out. And I've said to you guys on here before, I'm not really one for getting names on my shirts, but I'm very close to either getting Keita on the back of it or Andy Robertson on the back of it. I wouldn't be sure which one yet, but they'd probably be the two front runners for me. Joseph says, back to two teams to win on penalties. It's a great bet. I just heard you saying, I like a bet once it gets you're a winner. I think they usually, at penalties, they usually both 10 to 11. Something along those lines. So even if you do, well, obviously you're going to lose on one of them. You're going to lose very, very little. But I like to win money when I bet, so I'm not backing both. But I will back England if they get to a penalty shootout, because, as I said, the law of averages, they have to win one at this point. Louis says, fake, I'm not believing. Again, I think I'm missing out on something here, folks. Let me know what's fake. What was from the Twitter side that was talking bollocks? Let me know. Okay, what else have we got? Ferno says, if we can get HEUNG-MIN, I would be over the moon. He's insane. Again, the people in the chat tonight seem to think similarly to you, mate. We all think he's a very, very good player, but he is a Spurs player, so we have to be respectful of that one. Stizer says, I'm putting a bet on it for £2. Let me know the odds, actually, if you are. Let me know the odds for England to win the World Cup on penalties, because £2 if that came in. I mean, the Milky Bars are on you if that one comes in. The Raptor says Robbo on the shirt. And then Cop Idol says Robbo's a show. Yeah, there's something about him, isn't there? He's like a throwback. I mean, he's like one of the Scottish or Irish players that used to go and play for Liverpool 10, 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, Robbo was definitely a show for who I may get in the back of a shirt if I do, but still not sure if I'll get a name, to be honest. Maverick says, England should aim to finish first or second in the group, face Brazil if top and Japan if second. That's some difference there, isn't there? I mean, you can understand why they'd want to finish second. So it'd be interesting to see what type of a game we're looking at here between Belgium and England tomorrow. I think England are just naive enough to go and win the game, if that makes any sense. I think Belgium might be a little bit more street smarts and be willing to sacrifice this one for the greater good. I mean, England beat Brazil in the next round. Yeah, I know where my money would be going anyway. Ferno says we need another Scottish player, a decent young Scottish talent, as Liverpool we're famous for having Scottish players. And myself and Connor were only talking about perhaps making a little documentary on the link of Irish players to Liverpool over the past 40 or 50 years, even maybe a little bit longer. And I know somebody did document the link between Scottish players and Liverpool players as well. So it's certainly interesting, and there certainly is a really good link there from both countries to Liverpool. Scotland particularly, obviously, we have Kenny Dalglish, we've got Shankly, obviously we've got fucking Alan Hansen, or not Alan Hansen, Alan Hansen, sorry, my mind's going here. Andy Robertson, Jesus, there's just so many Scottish players Charlie Adam, and lots more besides. But yeah, there's been some amount of Scots that have come and played for Liverpool Football Club, and they've all had a big impact except Charlie Adam. Oh, Jesus Christ, I still can't believe that one. But yes, there's a real history of that at the club. Stygel says it's an ITK saying Fekir is signing on Sunday. It's BS. I fucking hate them ITK accounts. I really cannot stand them. I don't mind ones that are obviously a parody, like Indy Kayla and stuff like that. I mean, he's almost a staple around the transfer window at this point, but the guys that are on there just trying to get followers and mislead people, it really fucking annoys me. Louis said, someone said Fekir is going to be announced on Sunday. It's so fake. There's been a few of them. A few people have tried to pull these shouts about Fekir. A few people have tried to come out with ideas about why he didn't sign and stuff like that, but fuck them. None of them have a clue. If the big journals haven't got a clue, then these lads haven't got a clue. Lubac says Tadic has signed for Ajax for just 8 million quid. It's a good piece of business, isn't it, from Ajax? He's a player, Tadic, that can be a little bit hit and miss at times, but he's certainly capable. And a good addition for Ajax, I suppose, to bring in to replace Justin Kluivert, or to fill part of the hole left by Justin Kluivert. Cop Idol, one thing in common is with every title winning season we're going to start that one again. One thing in common with every title winning season is a Scot in the side. Arjen Robertson. Class. That's a really good name, actually. Arjen Robertson. The White Warrior. Liverpool do the bulk of their transfer business in July each year, according to Liverpool Echo, Craig, so looks like nothing till then. This is a little bit different. This window is a little bit different though, because they've changed when the window closes. It used to close 31st of August. Now it closes on the 11th or the 9th or something like that, because they wanted to close it before the league started. So between the end of the World Cup and the end of the window, there's only a 3-week period or something, so it's going to be bedlam. We're going to see, I'm going to be on here, I'm going to be living on YouTube and on the podcast, I think, at that point, because we'll be announcing stuff over and over, getting reaction to stuff. It's going to be crazy. I've told the lads that are involved in the Anfield agenda to expect to be doing a shitload of work in and around that time. The Raptor says Fekir's going nowhere till after the World Cup at the very soonest, and we've still said no. Silence is golden, you know it. Cop Idol says soonest. Yeah, and I can't believe that wasn't the first name. Well, second name after Kenny Dalglish. Phil says Tadic is a talent though. He is at 8 million. It's a very good piece of business. Ferno says I'm Polish, so I hope we get a Polish player. Dudek wasn't bad in the Champions League final in 2005, was he? No, he certainly wasn't. Legend just for that alone. I mean, the big Pole in the goal, absolute legend. The Polish players at the minute though, I mean, we were linked with Zielinski, weren't we? I mean, I think we were pretty close to going for Zielinski under Brendan Rodgers, so I think maybe we won't see a Polish player at the Reds just yet, but I get where you're coming from. Obviously, me being Irish as well, I want loads of Irish players playing for Liverpool, but Conor Masterson seems to be the best hope I have for a Liverpool or an Irish player playing for Liverpool anytime soon. Maverick says, totally agree. Belgium have already indicated as much, that they don't give a shit about the match and will make massive changes. England being naive and talking about winning and topping the group. Yeah, that's sometimes what I feel about it as well. Like a little bit naive, and I think I wonder. I'll be interested to see. I'll be interested to see how the match goes tomorrow. But yeah, top of the group. On this occasion, it looks like the wrong move, doesn't it? Ferno says, Maxi ITK guys just makes shit up for easy followers. Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them really, really do. And the amount of people that fall for this shit or give them the benefit of the doubt blows my mind. It really fucking does. I mean, what makes you think that some nobody that's never been on Twitter before, that's just started his account, is going to have inside information to when a deal's going to happen? It's absolute madness. There are guys on there who we spoke about before, like Graham Kelly as an example. I think Graham Kelly is somebody with very, very good knowledge of Liverpool Football Club and very good knowledge of possible deals or stuff that might go on there. And then look, nobody's 100% right, but I would use Graham as an example of somebody who would certainly be more in the know than 99% of other people that claim to have information. Joseph Reardon says, you forgot to say that Kenny was the man. I'm sure I said King Kenny. I'm sure I did. Stizer says 500 to 1. Just naming the team, Craig. So if you can say plus win on penalties, you're looking at a good selection of Milky Bars on him. That's fucking crazy. You have to stick a quid on it. You have to. Stick a quid on it. Go on. That's worth it. A quid. I mean, what can you buy with a quid these days? Stick a quid on it. If that comes in, definitely. I want my Milky Bar sent over. Defo. Nickel, yes. McAllister, yes. Thomas, top man. Stevie Nickel, Gary Mack, more. Just Scots everywhere. Scots throughout the history and the fabric of this football club. I mean, does it make sense for us to announce Fekir on the 1st of July as the Leon transfer budget carries on from that day or something like that? No, it doesn't. I think I said this the other night. If the deal was agreed, there would be nothing stopping them announcing it. And much like Naby Keita and Fabinho, the deal not actually going through until July 1st. So then the money goes into their account on July 1st and everything's tickety-boo and we get the player. So for it to keep it under wraps till July 1st, it doesn't seem to make any sense at all. But it'll be a lovely surprise if that's the case. It'll be a fucking damn nice surprise and we'll all be on here on Sunday having a nice old chat. But I don't think that will be the reason why. It doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, what do I know? I'm not a financial whiz kid. I'm not a financial expert. I'm broke as you guys, if not more so. So I'm not going to come on here and claim to have inside knowledge of the inner workings of a football that's listed on the European Stock Exchange. Maverick says, if England bust the gut to win the group and meet Brazil, the Brazil front line will turn the back 3 or 4 into a quivering wreck. England should aim for second. Imagine that game tomorrow if they're both going out to lose it. I mean, it really smacks of something that would be almost under investigation. It'd be interesting to see what team that Belgium put out, because I think England will be a little bit more respectful in the team that they put out. Thomas Boland, John Wark. Joseph says Bob was from Newcastle. I think Bob Paisley, obviously. Zielinski is decent, but we don't need him. I'd love Lewandowski or Pazdan. Do you not think, Ferno, that, again, you being Polish, you probably watch a lot more of Robert Lewandowski than I would, but I wonder, is he perhaps just after going past his peak and starting the slow decline? Is he 28 now, 28, 29? He looked, although the entire Polish team looked pretty average, to be fair, at the World Cup, but Lewandowski was certainly starved of the ball and he had to come deeper looking for it and try to create stuff himself. But I just wonder if he's perhaps on the decline. But look, Robert Lewandowski has been an immense footballer for Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich and Poland. I mean, he broke a record for the amount of goals he scored in qualifying. Cop Idol says, if you could pick an Irish player to join Liverpool, who would you want, Craig? God, I'm going to have a think about that one for a second. I would have loved Duffer back in the day. I think we spoke about that last night. Damien Duff always seemed to be a really good fit. At the minute, though, it's we're not exactly laden down with world beaters at the minute in Ireland. So give me a minute to have a little think through. This is probably making amazing watching, by the way. So, you know what, I'll come back to it. I'll have a little think in the back of my mind and I'll come back to it, Cop Idol. Because, as I said, we're not fucking laden down with superstars at this moment in time. Sturridge will be signing that kid from Man City. He's 17. Is that Stevie Gerrard's cousin? Is that the guy we're talking about? I think that's the guy we're talking about here. He also says we get Fekir after the World Cup, or we ain't buying him. End of story. How would you guys feel if the Fekir deal fell through? If the World Cup came and went, and he went back to Lyon, or he went on his holidays, and they just turned around and said, look, no deal. Something happened and he's not coming through. Would you be pissed off? Do you think the club will have a backup up their sleeve, or do you think they might revisit the whole transfer strategy, and maybe look to bring in an extra wide forward to compensate for that, and think that one of the forward three can drop deeper if needed and play in that attacking midfielder role? So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if Fekir doesn't come off, and of course we all hope it does. But if the worst comes to the worst and it doesn't come off, what do you think the club will do next? Lubac says Javier Pastore has signed for Roma for 22 million. It looks a bargain, but does this mean Roma need to sell Alisson? I think Roma have met their FFP target or goal, or whatever you want to call it, the mark they need to do, the money they need to get out and in to be FFP. What's the word I'm looking for here? FFP, not proficient. You get where I'm going. To be FF. Oh, I can't think of this word. Fucking hell, Craig. But yeah, you get where I'm coming from anyway. So I don't think they're under pressure to sell Alisson, and I think that they've done it on purpose. If you get where I'm coming from, I think that they sold Nangolan obviously, and they've moved a couple of guys out, and they brought in a goalkeeper as well. Let's not forget they've already brought in a possible replacement for Alisson. But the position that they're after putting themselves in is quite a strong one, because the clubs know now that they're not under pressure to meet the FFP regulations, and that they don't have to sell Alisson, but they probably think they're going to sell Alisson. So, I mean, Monchi is a tough negotiator at the best of times, so it's not unusual for him to put Roma and himself in a stronger position as possible. But I think they're going to sell Alisson, and they think they're going to get huge money for him, but none of us know if that deal is going to be Liverpool, if that deal is going to be Real Madrid, or if in fact they hang on to him. I'd be amazed at this point if they hang on to him, because it seems like now is the time to cash in on Alisson for Roma, and the amount of money they could free up to strengthen the squad elsewhere is crazy. I mean, for somebody that they got, what did they get him for? 12? Was it even 12? Maybe even 8? Something stupid like that they brought him in. Johnny O'Donnell says Damien Duff, class Irish player. In present day, you'd have to pick Seamus Coleman from Everton. I probably wouldn't at the moment, just because of his age. I mean, going back 3, 4, 5 years ago, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, Seamus Coleman, absolute quality. And I love the fact that Everton took a gamble on him from the Irish League. I love that fact so much, because it's very rare that a Premier League club, or I don't want to call them a top club, a bigger, are they even that? A Premier League club, we'll call them that, take a gamble on somebody from the Irish leagues like that, and he's been a massive success story for Everton, hasn't he? And he's been an absolute top-notch servant for Ireland as well. I think everybody's agreeing there. Seamus Coleman. Yeah, there's not really anyone to get us excited from an Irish point of view. Do you know who I wouldn't have minded seeing as somebody like a Shaqiri type signing, if we were to bring them in cheap? And we're again talking about an Irish player here. I wouldn't have minded seeing what's the guy's name again? Jesus Christ. Here I go again. Wes Hoolahan. I wouldn't have minded seeing us get a kind of Gary Mack one season out of Wes Hoolahan to fill a hole if I had to pick an Irish player. But of course he's 33 or 34, so that would be it now as well. But he's probably the most talented player that's been in an Irish shirt in an attacking sense for the last few years. Is Tadic a Ziyech replacement? That's what I thought as well when they signed him. I mean, obviously I said they brought him in as well to maybe fill the gap left by Justin Kluivert, but they do seem... It's very unusual that you see players being linked with clubs with like Ziyech with Liverpool for 25 odd million, and there not to be some ring of truth in the player trying to get a move. He's certainly done okay at the World Cup. He probably raised his profile. Being linked with clubs like Liverpool and stuff would do him no harm whatsoever. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ziyech moves on. But wasn't he linked with Roma as well? Weren't they linked with a double swoop for Justin Kluivert and Ziyech? And obviously the Kluivert one's the only one that seems to have got over the line. But then again, Ziyech has been at the World Cup, so it'll be interesting to see if that follows on and they do make a move for Ziyech as well. Thomas Baldwin says Lewandowski's a great player, but you're right, it looks like his best days is behind him. Steiger doesn't reckon that Ziyech is on the way to Liverpool anyway. Cop Idol says if the Fekir deal is already dead, which I don't believe, either do I should say, I wouldn't be that arsed. I got over Suarez. Yeah, I was the same. I think with Suarez, I think he gave us the extra year that we probably wished Coutinho gave us. I don't think any of us would have been as angry at Phil Coutinho if he had given us the full season and then left, just like Suarez did. It's always tough to lose a player like that, and particularly when it's always Barcelona that seem to be coming back in. But Suarez gave us the extra season, so I didn't feel too bad. But the way he left, I mean, after the World Cup and biting Chiellini and stuff, it wasn't great. It didn't put the club in the greatest of positions, looking to get the money for him. But yeah, I agree. I wasn't that arsed over Suarez either, although he is one of my favourite players. Freno says Lewandowski has at least 3 years in him, and he probably does. I mean, he's only 28, so going through the 31 certainly isn't off the mark or anything like it. But for him to make the move to the Premier League for those last 3 years, I can see why he's trying to angle a move to Spain, particularly to Real Madrid, because that would certainly suit a player who's possibly slowing down a little bit. Not that he's ever reliant on the speed, but I just don't think he'd be a big hit now in the Premier League if he was to make a move, unless he went somewhere where he's going to sit up top and do absolutely nothing, i.e. like a Chelsea forward or something, then perhaps. But I'd love to know how much they're going to ask for him at Bayern Munich as well, because he's made no secret of the fact that he wants a move. I think Karl-Heinz Rummenigge has come out a couple of times. Is it Karl-Heinz Rummenigge? That's one of the higher people at Bayern Munich that has come out and said that, look, he's not going anywhere. He just needs to learn to shut his mouth. Phil says, what about AC Milan being banned from Europe this season after failing FFP? I'd imagine there's going to be about 50,000 appeals gone in there as well. But it seems a pretty open and shut case from the very little knowledge I have of it, or the little understanding I have. It was a big gamble. I think the way they funded themselves and the way they rolled the dice on getting into the Champions League has come back to massively bite them in the ass, because we were all shocked at the way they went about bringing in players. I mean, they were just signing players left, right and centre. They put out a crazy amount of money on footballers that summer, but it's no surprise that they failed FFP. But I'm still amazed at how PSG apparently got through okay. Look, I know they need to recoup something like 67 million or something, and they've moved on Pastore and probably somebody else who I'm not remembering, but I mean, that stinks like fuck to me, how they were able to go and buy Neymar and buy Mbappe, although I know technically they had Mbappe on loan and they're only paying from this summer, but still, that's an outlay of nearly 400 million euro over 2 summers, which is just nonsense. They don't it's not like they have Premier League TV money behind them that they can justify it. I know they're a big club, they've got big financial backers, but you're only supposed to be able to spend what you bring in. And yes, they probably have some of these fucking dodgy sponsorship deals that stink to me as well, like some of the deals that Manchester City seem to have. It just looks like it's the owners disguising investment as sponsorship to me. Again, I should probably throw in the word allegedly somewhere in there to cover my ass, but it doesn't look right. Johnny says, what's the Son HEUNG-MIN links about? One of the papers had suggested that Liverpool had been linked with him, that he was looking to angle a move away from Spurs or something. I don't know if he's run down his contract, if he's got a year or 2 left. I did also mention that, as far as I'm aware, South Korean players have to give 2 years national service before the age of 28, and he is indeed 28, so maybe he'll get an exemption. There was talk of an exemption for the South Korean players if they performed well at the World Cup. So do they see beating Germany today as enough? interesting to see. But yeah, there was a link somewhere in the paper linking him to Liverpool, so that's basically the news on that one. That's why I have it in the headline. The Raptor says, if Fekir doesn't come off, then there's a reason. Where did that go? Sorry. If Fekir doesn't come off, then there's a reason. And I'm after losing where that was. Oh yeah, we don't know yet. If he doesn't come off the line, there'll be a contingency plan, or maybe there's an alternative already in place. Well, you'd imagine at this point the club know where they're going to stand on it. They've done the medical, they've done the fucking interview. They've got so far along that they know they're either going to renegotiate for whatever way they're trying to work the money, or they've already pulled the plug and have said nothing or let nothing be known, and they're behind the scenes, they're working on somebody. And there was it the Express or somebody put out to say Liverpool are working on a secret goalkeeper deal? I think I seen that. I think it was the Express, and obviously the Express talk bullshit 99% of the time. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if there isn't a deal for a goalkeeper being worked on behind the scenes right now. But who that is, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Maverick says he's completely indifferent to Fekir now. If we can get an adequate insurance cover for him, then there's a chance, but I don't know if we can afford to gamble with the cash without insurance. And that's something that isn't sexy to talk about, but could well be one of the reasons why this deal is so complicated, because obviously every player that comes in, the club have to take an insurance policy out, and maybe they just can't find somebody to underwrite it, or somebody that's happy to underwrite it as things stand. So that might have to be readjusted. The club may have to maybe, I suppose, look at how they're going about this insurance. They may have to look at other companies. I don't know, but it's certainly not out of the question that could be the case, Maverick. Ferno says, also I'd be kind of pissed if we get Asensio for 150 million, as we could get Fekir for about 50 million and Oblak for 100. I can't see any way that's true, Ferno, that we're going to go and pay that 156 million or whatever it was for Asensio, for a player that, as you said, we don't massively need, and Fekir is there for 1/3 of the price. So it would make no sense. And again, with Lopetegui only after coming in and taking the Real Madrid job, and obviously him having coached the young Spanish players through the youth systems in the Spanish national team, Asensio seems exactly the type of player he'd want to come in and work with at Real Madrid. So I can't imagine they're going to want to let him go either. If they were to move players on, it would be the older ones. It would be the Bales, maybe the Ronaldos, possibly the Modric's, maybe the Kroos's, players that are getting on in age. Like, getting rid of one of their youngest high profile up and coming players would make no sense. Maverick says Alisson and Roma wants to see how much Real Madrid are willing to pay. It has to be very close to Liverpool bid. If it's lower, then he'll still go to Real Madrid. Yeah, I mean, if Alisson decides that Real Madrid is where he wants to go, it puts Real Madrid in a very good negotiating point with Roma, because if, as somebody has suggested, Roma kind of are of the mindset that they're going to move Alisson on this summer, then it's up to the player. And if the player says, look, Liverpool can offer what they want, I'm not going there, then, you know, Real Madrid may well get him for less than Roma are hoping for at this moment in time. So yeah, I suppose it will all come down to what Alisson wants. Ferno says Tadic was 18 million, by the way, not 8 million. Well, that makes more sense, to be fair. I mean, 8 million seemed a ridiculously low fee for a player of his quality. The White Warrior says the Fekir there needs to happen. We have no set piece takers or corner takers. We have no creative players apart from the front three, and we do lack that player, don't we? The player in behind with a little bit of guile that can open the door. Lallana is capable of it when he's fit, but we've just seen we can't be guaranteed an entire season of Adam Lallana, and even at that, you still need more than one. So yeah, I'm fully on board that we need that type of player. We do need a creative spark in behind. Lubac says he could miss out on us. He could live with us missing out on Fekir if we don't buy at least a centre back and a goalkeeper. He'll be super pissed off. It's the goalkeeper for me, guys. I mean, if we don't sign a goalkeeper, I'm going to lose my little bald head. And I mean a goalkeeper of quality. I don't want us to go out there and buy someone fucking ridiculous for 30 million quid like Butland. I want us to go out and buy the best that we can afford. And yes, I said earlier on, I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite here. I did say I understand the club not going out and blowing 70 or 80 million quid when the current world record stands at around 40. But if it's one of the last pieces of the jigsaw, there's surely a creative way they can go about this. Like, I mean, they're pretty damn good about how they negotiated deals recently. So maybe there's a player, maybe there's something they can do, first option on somebody, something like that they could soften up Roma's stance. Johnny says, Alisson is yet to convince me that he's worth big money. He looked a bit iffy tonight, didn't he? I mean, he came out for a few crosses, and look, a lot of goalkeepers these days punch and don't catch, but he didn't look as convincing as you'd want, or you'd hope, when Brazil were under a bit of pressure there from Serbia. So I can understand why people are questioning, but I have watched Roma a fair bit this season, mainly from betting purposes, because I've had Roma, Juventus and Napoli on a lot of my bets this season, and he has been very impressive. He really has. I don't think he's covered himself in glory so far in the World Cup, albeit he's had very little to do in some games. I just think that he is better than he's shown so far in this World Cup, particularly with the ball at his feet, which he hasn't needed to do very much because Brazil haven't come up against the high press so far in this tournament. There's more teams sitting deep against them. Lubac says, the link I saw was 11.8 million euros, but there may be add-ons. Another report said about 8.5 million quid. I gather this is Tadic again. Either way, like, there's 8 million or 18 million. 8 million is madness. If they got him for 8 million, it's absolute madness. 18 million is understandable, I suppose, for a European club, but it still seems pretty cheap. Maverick says AC Milan can appeal to the arbitration court, so it's not over yet. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but it does seem like it's almost an open and shut case in regards to them spending beyond their means, because the way they even funded the club, or the takeover was funded, seemed a little bit iffy. Again, I'm not a font of knowledge on this. I just remember reading a few articles when the deals were taking place, when the club was being bought, and everything looked a little bit iffy. Cop Idol says, Craig, I have shitloads of Liverpool memorabilia. Would love to donate some for your room studio backdrop, mate. Again, this is where I get a little bit embarrassed. It's a lovely gesture from your behalf, but for me to take it, I'd almost feel like a prick, if that makes any sense. But look, mate, if you want to email us or message us, we can definitely have a chat. So if you want to send me an email at AnfieldAgenda@outlook.com, look, mate, I'd love it. I'm not going to lie, it would be lovely to stick some stuff up here behind me, and we're probably going to move to an actual studio at some point, all going well. I have an idea in my head that I'd like to see us do. Again, it's a little bit down the line. It'll be a lot more expensive for us. It'll involve us doing a lot more stuff live together as a group, maybe 2-3 people, but it's a lovely gesture, mate. Thank you. And it would be very much appreciated, although I'd hate to think that you believe in yourself short or anything like that, so please don't do that. Lubac said, I thought Christian Pavon looked a decent prospect, and his pace and energy would be perfect to have on the bench. I haven't really seen too much of him, to be honest, or haven't noticed him too much, I should say, Lubac, mate. So again, I'm probably not the right person to ask on that, but Joseph here says he agrees with you. He thinks Pavon looks really, really good. DCB is saying good night, mate. Thanks for joining yet again. While DCB is heading off, I'll just take another chance to say to you guys, if you haven't yet subscribed or given us a thumbs up, please just take a moment to do so, as it helps us get suggested to other users. It helps the channel grow, and it helps people know we exist, which is, it is a real part of the struggle when you're starting up a channel and you have a podcast or you're trying to get stuff out there, is just getting people to know that your channel exists. So if you guys are on Twitter, you're on Facebook, whatever social media platform you use, if you're having a chat about Liverpool or anything, give us a mention to people. Let them know that Anfield Agenda puts out good content if you think that we do, and let them know that, oh yes, duh, I can't believe I didn't say this to you guys last night. The biggest news that Anfield Agenda have actually had in a while, our podcasts are now available on Spotify. So if any of you guys, or any of you watching this on playback, if you like our podcasts, if you use Spotify, you can search Anfield Agenda on Spotify, get all our podcasts 100% free on there. Well, obviously you have to pay your Spotify subscription, but we don't get a penny of that, so we can't help with that one. But yeah, we're on there. We're on Spotify as of 2 days ago. So if you use Spotify, follow us on there. You'll get all our content. All the pods will be up there. But it's big news for us because I've been working really hard behind the scenes. I mean, it's easy enough to get up on iTunes and Acast and Castbox and all these other platforms, but it was a real pain in the backside to finally get us onto Spotify. So I'm over the moon that you're able to get Anfield Agenda's podcast on Spotify. So if you're a Spotify user, give us a follow on there and check out our content, because it's a big deal for me personally to get us onto Spotify. Just looking on the likes of iTunes, Spotify, and seeing content that we make up there it still blows my mind, much like it does when you guys tell me that you're listening in Jamaica or America or wherever the hell it is. It's crazy to think that this little thing that a group of us chancers made has gone onto Spotify and it's on iTunes and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. But as I said, help us grow this channel. Help us reach more people. Let people know we exist. We're always up for a bit of laugh, a bit of crack. Get people into the chats. The more the merrier. And we can smash it together. Ben says, seeing a few things, we turned down Max Meyer on a free because he's asking for 4 million a year. It's not unusual, yeah. I mean, when there was people talking about who's the guy that was on a free recently? The guy that went to Bayern Munich, Draxler. No, not Draxler. Sorry. The guy that played for Germany tonight. What the fuck is his name? Goretzka, Leon Goretzka. When he was approached about coming to Liverpool, I remember Melissa Reddy saying that he was asking for ludicrous money. I think she said somewhere north of 250 million a week, or 250 million a week, God shy, 250 grand a week, if I remember correctly. But what Melissa was saying was that it was an extraordinary amount of money, like it was ridiculous, and there was no way Liverpool were ever going to pay him that. So Max Meyer asking for 4 million a year, that's 80 grand a week. I think that's entirely reasonable for Max Meyer to ask, if you ask me, Ben, but I'm not the money man at Liverpool Football Club. But 4 million a year doesn't seem that much for a footballer these days. 80 grand a week. I mean, if you get rid of Daniel Sturridge, he's on 150 odd grand, or 150 grand a week. I mean, that's him paid for with change. So interesting. He's a decent player. I mean, he's looked fairly decent in the Bundesliga. He seems like he'd probably be worth a gamble at that type of money. It's what type of signing on fee I suppose he'd want as well. Johnny says, is there any other quality alternatives if Fekir doesn't happen? Emil Forsberg, I suppose, is another one we could look at bringing in. Christian, the guy that from Sweden that's on our podcast, has said that in the Swedish media there's been lots of links linking Emil Forsberg to a move to Liverpool. So that's one person, I suppose, that you could realistically think of. There probably is a lot more. I mean, again, does the club switch? If we don't get Fekir, do we switch to bringing in another wide forward, as I suggested earlier, and looking at how we approach the transfer window, making a slight little tweak to the system, perhaps? Lubac said, what if we signed Asensio on a season loan? Again, it doesn't really make much sense. You're then bringing him to Liverpool, taking a spot away from somebody else, coaching him and bringing him on and improving him to hand them back to another club. In the long term, it's small club mentality for me, and it doesn't seem to make much sense. What would people coming through like Graham Brewster think if that was the case? If Liverpool brought in Asensio and took a position in the squad away from a young guy like that coming through, that Liverpool are just getting to sign a new 5-year deal. It doesn't make sense to me anyway. That's just my view. Nathan John says, I'm fine with Lovren starting with Virgil next season. I'm not fine with Karius starting. Yeah, I'm pretty much similar. I wouldn't mind us strengthening the central back options by bringing in like a Lascelles, or I don't really like Tarkowski if I'm being honest, but somebody of that ilk, somebody to compete, or somebody as good strong cover for Dejan Lovren to play alongside Virgil. But I'm with you, my head's going to fall off, Nathan, if we start next season and Karius is in between the sticks. I just don't think there's any coming back for me. Stizer reckons we can crowdfund Fekir. We give it a shot. Maybe we could crowdfund the rebuild of his knee. That probably might be a little better one. We can get it done. There's a couple of ways, isn't it, that they can do the rebuild of the ACL, and one way seems to take longer to recover, but you get longer benefit, I suppose, from it. And it looks like the way Fekir was done, or the way we're being led to believe it was done, means that he may well not get as long out of the repair or the fix as he may have the other way. Maverick says, realistically, we need a few players to leave, or we need to let a few players leave. And yeah, and it's tough to have those chats, isn't it? Because none of us want to come on here and say, get rid of him, he's not good enough, because these are all Liverpool players, part of the Liverpool family. But realistically, as you've said, Maverick, there are some players that we're going to have to move on. So I don't think it would be out of the ordinary to say, let's move on Daniel Sturridge, as an example. Danny Ings has asked to leave. I think that's pretty fair on everybody involved. You can't say anything about Danny Ings. He wants to go and play football, so best of luck to the lad. Didn't work out for him at Liverpool, but I think most people will look at him fondly and wish him the best. Lallana for me is someone that I'd be on the fence about. Mignolet I obviously think should move on. I think Divock Origi should move on. I don't know if he will. I think Klopp might give him pre-season, or maybe even a little bit longer. He might give him 6 months to see if he can improve at Liverpool with Danny Ings going. I'd like to see him moved on. Joel Matip, I think we should move on as well. I just don't think we're going to get a run of games out of him. He seems to always be picking up little knocks or injuries that you can't get 20 games a season. Well, maybe you can. You can't get 25, 30 games a season out of him. Raptor says, no Slicer, Goretzka was the name of the player he couldn't remember the name of. But that being said, he can't remember most players' names. You're spot on. I can't. Like, come on, my mind goes blank a lot of the time. As I said before, I'm usually trying to think of a subject or two ahead that we can talk about in the chat. So I'm usually trying to work through what I'm going to say and what way I'm going to try and direct the conversation. So when I have to then double back and think about something else, so yeah, I usually do draw a blank. So you're spot on. I can't even tell you your line. Damo says, we were able to sign Gerrard's cousin Bobby Duncan because the ban preventing us from signing players from other English academies has now been lifted. Can we expect more players given Trent's success? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there ever was a manager who was willing to give young guys a chance and willing to stand over his decisions with younger players, it definitely is Jurgen Klopp. And with Trent being the success that you've pointed out, and with Ryan Brewster now looking like he's agreeing a new deal, and Klopp obviously showing him that there's a pathway through to the first team, yeah, you'd imagine that most of these players would look at Liverpool and think, if I'm good enough, there is a pathway there, and that manager is willing to give me a chance. So, good shout, Damo, and we may see a few more, as you've suggested. Johnny says he'll donate 100 quid towards the Oblak transfer. Imagine we had to crowdfund his wages as well. Imagine that was the deal. Liverpool turned around and said, right, look, fair enough, we've heard you all. Right, you go crowdfund, get us the 80 million quid for Oblak, but you can pay his fucking wages as well. So it'd be a bit tough then, wouldn't it, if we were trying to crowdfund his wages every week as well. The Raptor says, I'll donate Mignolet. I'll give him Mignolet a lift to the airport. I'll even buy his fucking ticket if that's what it takes to get him to, say, Tara. Newcastle need a striker, so we could do something like 20 million plus Ings for Lascelles. And yeah, there has been a link to Furno from Danny Ings to Newcastle, so again, not out of the question, and they certainly do need a striker. Weren't they linked with Torres though? Am I pulling that one out of thin air, or was there a link? I know Torres is leaving Atletico, so was there a link? Maybe Rafa trying to go back in to bring Torres to Newcastle? But even still, so Danny Ings, I mean, you'd imagine that the fee we'd ask for him would be quite reasonable. And yeah, maybe there is something that can be done there, because it seems that Liverpool have at least looked at Jamal Lascelles and think he's a possible target, so why not? Joseph says, Craig, would love to hear what you think about Suso coming back. I think he was a little bit hard done by, if I'm being honest, Joseph, mate. Look, none of us can ever say if he would have shown what he's shown at AC Milan at Liverpool. Probably because he hasn't got the chance. You heard the shouts about people saying he was too lightweight for the Premier League, but he's looked very, very good at AC Milan. Would he be good enough to come in and fill the boots of a Phil Coutinho or take the position away from Nabil Fekir? I would have my doubts. about him being of that caliber, but if the club were to bring him in for a reasonable fee, then I'd be fine about it. I really would. Yeah, I think he might feel like he had a little bit of unfinished business at Liverpool because he really didn't get that chance. And coming through playing for the youth teams, he was really well regarded, wasn't he? We all thought that Suso was going to be something special. So yeah, look, I wouldn't be against them coming back for the right money if he wasn't, as I said, if he wasn't the replacement for Fekir or Coutinho's replacement or something. Then why not? What do you think, Joseph? Would you mind seeing Suso back in a Liverpool shirt? Owen says Markovic should be gone. Yes, I always forget that he's still a Liverpool fucking player. I mean, the Quentin Tarantino, Roger Federer lookalike. Yeah, I can't believe I keep forgetting he's still a Liverpool player. It seems we can't give him away at this point though. Thomas Boland says throw in Lallana and we'll get Lascelles. Possibly. Would Lallana go up to Newcastle, do you think though? I don't know. He seems like the type of lad who'd probably rather go back down south. Damo says, good shout, Ferno. Use Ings to trade players or Origi. Yeah, see, I think Origi, as you've mentioned, Damo, I think Origi is somebody we could use as bait for a few clubs around Europe. And I'm surprised that we haven't maybe tried to offer him to Leon as part of the deal for Nabil Fekir, because he seems like he'd be right up Leon's street. Yeah, but maybe they just don't rate him. Maybe his stock has fallen that low that even Leon would turn their noses up at a move for Divock Origi. Cobb Idle says, I wouldn't pay Markovic to cut my grass. He'd probably pull up halfway through it, and you know, you'd go out and you'd find him there having a smoke or something, just lying on the grass doing nothing, and he'd give you some bullshit excuse about the lawnmower isn't up to scratch or ran out of petrol or some nonsense like that. So I wouldn't pay him either to cut the grass. The Raptor says we could put Miggers in one of the suitcases. Ferno says, actually give Newcastle our dead wood like Sturridge, Ings and Markovic. I can't imagine that Rafa would be dumb enough to actually take Sturridge off us, because he needs a striker and he's going to know that he can't rely on Danny Sturridge because obviously his body won't hold up. So, but Ings seems like somebody who would be right up Rafa's street. Rafa likes a good work ethic, and that's one thing that Danny Ings most certainly has. Maverick says, I'm not sure that Markovic can sweeten any deal. He might sour them. Yeah, you're right. Damo says, have a big car boot sale. Ferno says, Origi needs to stay. He's miles better than Ings and Solanke. Well, look, Ings is going, so I suppose that's not really a conversation we need to have. But in regards to Origi over Solanke, I suppose that's a debate that we can have, because Klopp seems to think quite highly of Dominic Solanke. We certainly haven't seen the full potential of Dominic Solanke. It was lovely to see him get his goal at the end of last season, but I'd be of the mindset that we've given Origi his chance and he hasn't pulled up any trees. And that maybe Solanke could do it one more season to develop or prove himself before we move him on. But hey, that's just my opinion, buddy. Joseph says, yeah, Suso has something to prove in England and he has a big affection with LFC. I mean, yeah, he came here quite young, didn't he? I mean, he spent some of his teenage years at Liverpool, and as you said, I think he might feel like he has a little bit of unfinished business in the Premier League. Cop Idol says, waste of sperm like that, Bogdan. I mean, if we talk about stealing a living, like, he has to be right up there, doesn't he? Adam Bogdan at the top of the list. He had one semi-decent game against Liverpool, and Brendan Rodgers is like, oh, yeah, bring in Adam Bogdan from Bolton. Sure, he's definitely a great backup. Fucking hell, one of the oddest pieces of transfer business we've done in the last 15 years. Johnny O'Donnell says, Origi swap for Zaha. I think it would be a little bit more than a swap, to be fair, Johnny. I mean, they were quoting like 75 million for Zaha, weren't they? Something stupid like that at Crystal Palace, but he'd be a massive upgrade. Zaha's quality. Really is. I really rate the guy. Lubac says, what if you did a 24-hour sponsored podcast to raise money for the Fekir Fund? Yeah, I'd certainly do my shift. I mean, you'd obviously need to get more people on here, but I'd certainly do my few hours anyway. The Raptor says Solanke over Divock any day. Stiger says Solanke is going to Rangers. Thomas Boland says start to buy one get one free deal just to ship out players. Damo says whatever happened to Teixeira, another one of the big things that didn't make it at LFC. Where did Teixeira go actually? I can't remember where he went, so I'll be lying. I'll be just making it up. But yeah, he was certainly somebody that was highly regarded and that we thought was going to make a big splash. What else have we got? Ferno, I think Origi has plenty of chances and simply falls short of the quality we need. Damo, I think Styles, are you talking about Teixeira there with the visa? I think I might be mistaken, but I don't think it's him that has the visa issues. It's the Sousa guy, whatever his name is. He's the one with the issue. Alan, yeah, that's him. Alan. He has the issues, I think, with the visa. Teixeira went to China. Is it that Teixeira that he was talking about? Because yeah, I knew he went to play in China, but I thought he was talking about somebody in the youth system. Stiger's like, I am confused with him. It's the Brazilian lad. Yeah, and it seems mad to me as well, Stiger, mate, that we can't get him a work permit at this point. Because you've seen some of the players that have come through the leagues, and yes, I know a lot of Brazilians do hold dual nationality and Portuguese passports, but it seems madness that we haven't been able to get him a work permit yet. Cop Idol says, if you watch Klopp's reaction to Solanke scoring and the word in his ear full time suggests he has stock in the boss's eyes, and I think the same. I think that Jurgen Klopp has been pleasantly surprised with Dominic Solanke, and he thinks he has a player there. Ferno says, oh, João Teixeira went to Portugal and then on to another Portuguese club. Yeah, good man. So you guys, see, you never let me down. You always have the knowledge that this bald idiot keeps forgetting. So from Bula Bus, which again means clap in Irish. It means round of applause, sorry. Right guys, I think I am going to call it a night, if that's okay. What time? Yeah, we're on 2 hours now, so yeah, I think I'm going to call it a night. We are recording our transfer podcast tomorrow night, so we're recording that at 9, should be finished by 10, so it might be on late tomorrow night. If you guys are around, I'm probably jumping on about 20 past 10 or thereabouts. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. If you're watching this on a playback later on, or you're watching the stream not live, do hit that like button, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed and you've enjoyed the stream, please do hit the subscribe button. Good night to everybody that's been in the chat. Thank you all so much again. It's been a pleasure on chatting with you guys, and up the Reds as always.